Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Uh,
This Teams window is hiding behind Microsoft Edge, so when you spoke, I nearly jumped. Oh, funny.
Glad you mentioned that. I need to remember to, when you share your screen in Teams, it will pop up a bar that blocks the tabs you want to go to.
It's
And that
the
was,
most annoying thing. That little bar at the top.
it
I
was
know you
causing
can
me
move it.
problems.
No.
Good morning, Joanna.
Good morning.
Morning, Jennifer.
Good morning.
Morning, Aaron.
Hi.
Good morning, Amy.
Good morning.
We'll get started here in just a couple of minutes. Right, it is 9:05, so we're going to go ahead and get started. This is our fourth and final Rule Advisory Committee meeting for Senate Bill 163. My name is Derek Patterson. I'm the liaison to the County Vital Records offices for the Center for Health Statistics, and I appreciate you being here. Let's take a look at our agenda real quick. So the one document we're going to look at today is the Statement of Need and Fiscal Impact and Equity Impact Statement. I'll talk a little bit more in a moment about what exactly that is, but that's our one document we're going to look at today. As far as our agenda, we'll do similar sort of introductions and reminders around meeting procedures, and then we'll spend most of our time reviewing that document. At the end, we will discuss next steps, and we will end by 10 o'clock. Any questions before we start? All right. For introductions, let's see, so this is our fourth meeting. It looks like we've got, Amy, you might be our only Rule Advisory Committee member. So if you just want to introduce yourself, and then we can, as subject matter experts, we can go through and do quick introductions.
Yes, good morning. Amy Downmall from the Hospital Association of Oregon.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Let's see, James Crocker.
Morning. My name is James Crocker. I am with the Center for Health Statistics Partner Services Training and Communication Team and a co-rules coordinator on the Senate Bill 163 implementation project.
Thank you, James. Ian Robbins.
Hello, yes, Ian Robbins. I am the project manager for CHS, the Senate Bill 163 implementation project. Thank you.
Thank you. Danny Hall.
Good morning. I'm Danny Hall with Partner Services Training and Communication Teams, and I'm also the rules coordinator for the Center for Health Statistics.
Thank you, Danny. Joanna Collins.
Good morning. My name is Joanna Collins, and I manage the amendment department for the Center for Health Statistics.
Thank you. Jennifer Woodward.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jennifer Woodward. I manage the Center for Health Statistics, and I'm here as a subject matter expert.
Thank you, Jennifer. Erin Williams.
Morning, my name is Erin Williams. I'm one of the attorneys that advises the Oregon Health Authority.
Thank you, Erin. And good morning, Tabitha. We were just doing introductions. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. I'm Tabitha Coe. I'm an attorney practicing in Oregon and Washington in the area of third-party reproduction and adoption.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. So as with our other meetings, just some reminders that this meeting is being recorded. It is public record. Any feedback that you provide to us will be public record. And also this meeting is limited to feedback from Rule Advisory Committee members. However, there is a public comment period that will take place later after this RAC. So if you have additional feedback you'd like to provide, or if you know of somebody who's not a member of the RAC that would like to provide comment on those rules that time, we would appreciate that. That's an opportunity that people have. Also, just similar to before, I'll go through and I'll read the document section by section. You can provide feedback in the chat if that's easiest, or you can use the Teams function to raise your hand and unmute yourself, whatever works best for you. And just as before, we might not be able to come to a conclusion on something or answer all of your questions, but we do have subject matter experts available to provide context or clarification. So we will jump into our document. Are there any questions before we get started? Okay. Let's take a look at our statement of need and fiscal impact. Some background about this document. This is something that is submitted when we submit rules for filing. It provides some information for the public about expected impact of the rules regarding things like equity, impact on small businesses, and things like that, so that they can be informed. So we want to make sure that it's accurate and comprehensive. This document has already been reviewed by the Department of Justice, and we have gotten feedback, and it's been reviewed by our Partnerships in Community Health team. They've reviewed the racial equity portion of it, and we're very excited to get any feedback that you have. All right. There is some of these sections where it is lists of statutes or of forms that I'm going to spare you me reading. So I'm going to stick to some of the more substantive things. So this is in the matter of adoption, amendment, and repeal of rules under OAR Chapter 333, Division 11, pertaining to vital statistics. And I am going to skip over the statutory authority, other authority, and the statutes implemented. But you can see that we've listed those there. So the first section, the need for the rules. The purpose of this rulemaking is to adopt new rules required by the passage of Senate Bill 163, Oregon Legislature 2025, Chapter 592, during the 2025 Oregon legislative session. Portions of Senate Bill 163 have an implementation date of January 1, 2027, and are addressed by this rulemaking. Senate Bill 163 modifies how parentage of a child is established in Oregon. Senate Bill 163 requires that the Oregon Health Authority, Public Health Division, Center for Health Statistics to adopt rules to 1. Establish standards for preparing reports of live birth for the new methods for establishing parentage. 2. Add parents to reports of live births who are not married but intend to. 3. Establish parentage with a witnessed voluntary acknowledgement of parentage. 4. Establish parentage with a notarized voluntary acknowledgement of parentage. 5. Establish a denial of parentage process. 6. Establish a process for rescission of acknowledgement or denial of parentage. And 7. Establish a process to register the birth of a child under a gestational surrogacy agreement. The rulemaking will also repeal the previous rule that established the processes of acknowledgement of parentage, as a new rule is replacing it, and will amend the rule on preparation of new birth records after amendment. Any questions, comments, or feedback on that overview of the need for the rule? Okay. If I move too quickly, if you need me to slow down, just let me know. Or if you think of something later and you want to come back, we can absolutely do that. So, all right. I am going to skip over reading this section about documents relied upon and where they're available, but just want to highlight that this talks about forms that we use as reference in creating our new forms. We looked at Washington's forms, for example, and then it lists new forms and worksheets that are being developed in relation to this rule or these rules. As a reminder, we are working on updating worksheets and forms that we use, and if that's something that you're interested in, please reach out to us. We would be happy if people want to review those updated drafts that we're working on. Okay. The next section is a statement identifying how adoption of rules will affect racial equity in this state. The rules increase equitable access to parentage in Oregon by removing gender designations for parental roles. They also implement administrative processes directed by Senate Bill 163 to add or remove parents from birth records that are less expensive and time-consuming than judicial proceedings. Unmarried parents are more likely to use these processes, as married parents are generally automatically added to the birth record. The percentage of births in Oregon where the person who gave birth is not married or in a registered domestic partnership varies by race and ethnicity. 2025 percentage of Oregon births where the person who gave birth was not married. And I won't read through those percentages, but we do have percentages listed there for some different races and ethnicities. The percentages above show that some communities of color are experiencing a higher percentage of non-marital births compared to white communities. The new processes proposed in the rule change may reduce barriers and positively impact those communities who will be more likely to utilize new parentage processes, thus increasing the addition of parents on birth records in the state. This suggests that some racial or ethnic communities may be more likely to use administrative processes proposed in the new rules to add a parent to a birth record. Because some communities of color may be more likely to utilize some of the parentage establishment processes, it is important to recognize barriers associated in navigating these processes, such as language access, access to relevant and accurate information, or financial hardships. For example, many communities speak primary languages other than English, which can increase barriers or difficulties navigating these forms and timelines. The rules provide clarification of the processes for adding parents that include information on when fees should be paid, when forms can be accepted, and when parties are notified. Having this level of detail in the rules will help families, individuals, and families navigate a rather complicated process. Any questions or comments or suggestions for this section? I'll give you some time on this one. This is a pretty large section. Yeah, Tabitha.
I would just say that I think it's great, and I think it's accurate and well written, and that improving equity both for LGBTQ communities and communities of color is one of, I think, the biggest wins that we have with this Parentage Act. So this is great.
Thank you. Anything else for this section? Okay. The next section is about fiscal and economic impact. The anticipated fiscal and economic impact is unknown. Additional fees for amendments generated are unknown, but will not cover the expenses to prepare and implement new forms, procedures, and rules. Current expenditures in the amendments program are significantly higher than the revenue generated by amendment fees. Individuals from the public who wish to add or remove themselves as parents on a birth record can do so through the processes outlined in these rules. There are fees associated with filing notarized acknowledgement of parentage, denial of parentage, and rescission of acknowledgement or denial of parentage. No new fees are established in these rules. In some cases, a fee is not required if filed within a particular time frame from the date of birth, which reduces the economic impact on members of the public. Any questions or feedback on this section? Okay. Next is a statement of cost of compliance. 1. Impact on state agencies, units of local government, and the public. ORS 183.335. 2B. The Oregon Health Authority Public Health Division Center for Health Statistics is fiscally impacted by these rules. The Center for Health Statistics is the sole agency responsible for amending those records as outlined in Senate Bill 163. The rules require additional staffing and information technology resources to update forms, develop training, and modify the state's vital record system. The Center for Health Statistics will receive some fees for the services provided, but the additional tasks identified in rule will not be fully funded by the fees. No other state agencies or units of local government will have a cost of compliance impact. Individuals from the public who wish to add or remove themselves as parents on a birth record can do so through the processes outlined in these rules. There are fees associated with filing notarized acknowledgement of parentage, denial of parentage, and rescission of acknowledgement or denial of parentage. No new fees are established in these rules. Questions or feedback for this section? Okay. The next section, and I'll do this for each of the subsections, I'll pause for each one. Cost of compliance effect on small business, ORS 183.336. ORS 183.31010 defines small business as a corporation, partnership, sole proprietorship, or other legal entity formed for the purpose of making a profit, which is independently owned and operated from all other businesses and which has 50 or fewer employees. A, estimate the number of small businesses and types of business and industries with small businesses subject to the rule. An estimated 30 small businesses that offer midwifery services and that are responsible for reporting births are subject to the rules. These businesses will be required to follow the new rules related to the standards for reporting births, gathering information related to parents intending to marry, provide notarized acknowledgement or denial of parentage forms to parents if requested, and complete the intended and gestational surrogacy information on birth records as required by the new rules. Any questions or feedback on that section? Yeah, Jennifer.
Yeah, Derek, I think we probably need to add in that they also have to provide witnessed acknowledgement of parentage forms. I realize that's missing on this list because they have to give those too. Oh, no, actually midwifery service. Nope, I'm incorrect. Sorry. I think it's fine because the witnessed can only happen in the healthcare facility. So I'm just corrected myself. Sorry about that. Thank you.
That's okay. That's all right. Thank you. Any other questions or comments on this section? Okay. B, projected reporting, record keeping, and other administrative activities required for compliance, including costs of professional services. The new rules establish the process for record keeping of parent and facility worksheets that are currently in practice. Additional information gathered from parents will be provided on forms provided by the Center for Health Statistics. Forms that may need to be provided to parents will be provided by the Center for Health Statistics. Training and instructions will be provided by the Center for Health Statistics. The reporting, record keeping, and administrative work for small businesses, midwives, independent birthing centers is already happening and has been for many years. The new and amended rules add some additional forms and processes, but the majority of the work is already being performed. The exact costs are unknown, but likely to be minimal. Any questions or comments on this section? Okay. Section C, equipment, supplies, labor, and increased administration required for compliance. All forms will be provided by the Center for Health Statistics. The time it takes to gather the information from parents to complete birth records may increase, resulting in more labor costs for completing each birth record. Small businesses may have costs related to training time for staff on new rules and forms. And then I'll just continue with the other ones. How were small businesses involved in the development of this rule? Midwives and birthing center representatives were included in the RAC. And then we just have here that we are consulting the RAC for this. Any feedback on these final sections? Jennifer.
I think we need to confirm, because I don't know if we did invite a midwife and birthing center on the RAC, but we need to confirm, because I don't believe we did have representatives. So we might need to revise this section and then explain why not. So just wanted to duly note that.
Thank you. Anything else for these final sections, or anything all in this document? Okay, well, we appreciate you very much being here today and providing feedback on this document and throughout the RAC process. It really helps us to make sure that the rules are as good as we can get them to help the communities. For next steps, please reach out to us. We can put an email in the chat for our partner services shared inbox if you're interested in providing feedback on our updated forms, or if you have any other questions or things that you'd like to reach out to us about. We will be taking into account the feedback we've received throughout this process for our next revision of the rules. As I mentioned previously, there will be a public comment period as part of the implementation of this, so there will be an additional opportunity for feedback through that public comment. And then I did want to show you quickly here on our main website, if you're interested in keeping up to date on Rules Thing, our main website, we can also put this link in the chat. The easiest way to get to this is our short link. It's healthoregon.org/CHS, so Center for Health Statistics. On this main website, if you come to the bottom here, we do have a web page for vital records legislation and rulemaking activity. So this is a good place if you're interested in keeping up with the rest of the process. If you come to this, we have information here about the process. And if you would like to review any of the recordings of these Rule Advisory Committee meetings, we have those here, as well as transcripts, and we will post additional information about our rulemaking activities here. So I just wanted to highlight that as a way to keep involved in this. Any questions or final thoughts before we conclude our RAC? Thank you, James, for putting that in the chat. All right. Well, we will go ahead and end the meeting. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Bye, everybody.
Thanks all.
Thank
Bye,
you.
thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.